Hey, it's Corey. If you are there, jump on, say hello. So I have wanted to share a little bit about this idea of finding freedom in the darkness, because we all go through different phases of experiencing negativity or frustration or anger, different emotions that we tend to associate negatively. So we tend to value different emotions differently, right? So I wanted to talk a little bit about that. I actually want to start with a story I recently read, which really shifted things for me and how I look at, quote unquote, the darkness. So there was, I think it's sort of like a parable. So a man was put into a cave, and the cave was blocked. So he was put into prison, basically, and then said, "You're welcome to leave if you can find the way out." And so the very, very top of the cave was this little tiny piece of light. So he decided to try to build a mound so that he could reach the light and crawl out of the little hole. And so he spent all his days digging with his hands, trying to build a mound of dirt and rocks to get to the top, where he could have enough height where he could get out. And I believe, from what I remember in the story, is after a certain number of days, they stopped bringing him food. So he had to be able to get out before he ran out of food, before he died. So, and I think they said it was like he was 5'9", so he had to build enough height so that 5'9" plus 5 more feet, then he could get out, because it was 10 foot to the top. So what happened was he didn't quite reach the top. He ran out of energy before he could build enough height to reach the light. But the thing is, if he had looked in the dark, there was actually an opening in the cave that went to an exit to freedom. But he never thought to look in the dark. He was so fixated on that little piece of light that he put all his energy into seeing the light as his way to freedom, when in actuality, his freedom was found in the darkness. So the story really helped shift things for me, because I think it's quite common for us to do the same thing. We look for freedom in the light, and we really tend to run away from the darkness. And so for me, where this has been showing up is around anger and depression. So growing up, my stepdad wasn't the greatest example of dealing with anger, and so I came to associate anger negatively and was sort of fearful of anger, and so suppressed my own anger because I didn't feel like it was okay to express anger because it made me really uncomfortable. And so what happens, again, when we suppress things is that those things tend to start operating in your life. So they come up, but since I wasn't allowing myself to express it, it would turn into frustration, and then it would turn into being a victim. Oh, throw my hands up, what's it worth? Which then turned into depression. And depression was another thing that I had negatively associated with, because I had experienced it and known it wasn't something that is not very enjoyable, basically. So, again, tried to suppress it instead of, again, letting it have its space. And so how this is shifting for me is I was feeling a lot of anger yesterday, and then this morning, again, it started coming out. And this time, instead of suppressing it, denying it, I was able to shift and ask, what are you trying to tell me? What's the invitation here? And so instead of trying to see it as a curse, I saw it as an invitation. So once I was able to let go of it being a negative thing, being a bad thing, trying to suppress it, it's not okay to feel this. What can I do to not feel this? All these things that, exercise or journaling, try to do all these things to avoid it. I just decided this morning, you know what? I give up. I am going into the darkness to see what's the gift in it. And what I found is it's the same thing I've been sharing the last couple weeks or so, is we can't have the light without the darkness. We can't have emotional stability without variation in emotion. Does that make sense? So we can't have happiness without sadness. We can't have joy without sadness again. Or anger, like it's again, we can't have anger if we also don't have its opposite. And so being able to recognize the gift in anger, and a lot of the work I've been doing is then to try to associate when is an example or an experience where anger actually was a benefit. It actually helped me in some way. And once you can associate that and see, like, anger isn't always, even though you might have experiences where it wasn't a positive thing, try to find an experience where it actually helped you, and then you can see the gift in it. And then once you do that, you release its power over you so that it doesn't trigger you. If you get mad, also what I recognize too is often when there's anger, it's something isn't going, or someone isn't going the way I want, or someone isn't acting the way I want, and so I'm trying to play God. Like, I want everything to go the way I want it to go. And when it doesn't, I get mad. So really, it's just an indication that, one, I'm out of alignment, and I'm maybe seeing something that might be a misalignment in my values. Someone doing something that I wouldn't do, so maybe it's triggering a misalignment in values. But again, it's realizing I'm not in control. I can't control exactly how everything goes. I can't control exactly how this person acts. But what I can control is my own reality, how I respond to things, how I decide to show up, how I take care of my energy, how I decide to work through different emotions and honor different emotions instead of suppressing them. And then when you do that, that's when you really start to call in different archetypes. So the archetype of the sovereign who stands for what they believe in. And then the warrior who is, this is who I am, this is what I'm about, I will fight for what I believe in and what I value. And then the lover who comes in and says, I will do anything that's in alignment with my self-worth. And so you're not separating yourself and giving yourself and your power to be managed by other things and other situations and other people. So that is the invitation of the darkness, is to find the freedom in the darkness and the gift in the darkness, what it is here to teach you, so that you, again, retain your power instead of letting your power be managed by other things, people, or situations. So I put a link at the top to a visualization to your most powerful, authentic self, which will help you connect with that person who is centered and grounded in alignment with their highest values. And then you can also reach out to me if this is resonating with you, to see how we could work together. If you are in the space where you want to start operating from a place of power and not letting the fears take over and take you into a place where you're out of alignment with your values and with how you want to be living your life. All right. Let me know if you catch us on the replay, and I'll respond to any questions you have, and I will talk to you all soon. Have an amazing day.